What is up, everyone? Welcome to the FAA podcast. Good to be here right on time, 7:30. We're going to roll through this thing. Seems like it's just me today. So, yeah, we're going to go relatively quickly here. Changing the show up a little bit, too. Not going to have the full stats for every single college game we pick. Y'all don't need that. So I'm just going to roll through the games that were kind of close and also at the same time that we did pick. So USF, ridiculous game on Thursday, just demolishing number 25 Boise State, 34-7. Maddox Madsen was not good. This team lacked explosion on offense. Ashton Genty obviously missing. I guess it was him that the Broncos needed. But yeah, I mean, Boise was big time disappointment in this one, getting shellacked in South Florida. Madsen there, 54.3%, 225 touchdown, 11 carries, 31 yards, and a fumble. Byron Brown, returning starter for the Bulls, very decent night, 66.7%, 210, 14 carries, 43 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Really effective on the ground for Brown in this game. And again, USF had everything rolling. Lachlan Hewlett, the backup QB, throwing a 45-yard touchdown on a fake punt as well. So that was something to watch. Alvin Isaac led the game in rushing for USF, just 3 carries, but he had 52 yards and a 15-yard reception. Good explosion there for Isaac. USF wide receiver Chaz Nimrod led the game in receiving, caught 3 for 96. Defensively, I am going to go with the guy that had 2. Actually, I'm going to go with the top guy there. USF linebacker Jalen Schuler, excellent game, 14 tackles, 5 of those solos, tackle for loss, and 1 pass defense, and a fumble recovery as well. USF covered. Do not recall what the line was. I think it was around 5.5, 4.5, 5.5, something like that. And the under hit, I believe, in that game. On Friday, couple games here. Auburn beating up on Baylor 38-24. It was really good quarterback play. Sawyer Robertson, I mean, despite the completion percentage is 56.3%, great passing numbers, 419 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jackson Arnold, the Oklahoma transfer, not the greatest, 64.7%, 108. 16 carries, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns, though. The ground game was working all night for the Tigers, and Arnold, just a ridiculous ground game for him. Leading the game in receiving here was Baylor wide receiver Cole Wilson, 8 catches, 134 yards. His teammate tight end Michael Trigg, just short of 107 for 99 and a touch. And defensively, there was not a lot of stats here, but how about the game tackles for Baylor linebacker Keaton Thomas? 15 of them, 10 of those solos, big-time tackle numbers. And Auburn corner Rayshon Pleasant, 98-yard kick return for a touchdown. Auburn covers plus 1.5, over 56.5. Georgia Tech, 27-20 over Colorado. This was a very good game. I was listening to it on my way down to Georgia. But Yeah. So I was impressed with Colorado for one. I gave them a bad record this year, my predictions, and they did impress me. Caden Salter, was a lot better than I thought they were going to be. 60.7% for Salter, 159, a touchdown, 13 carries, 43 yards, and a touchdown. But this game was about Haynes King. This is what I thought Georgia Tech would win in this one was the Haynes brothers, Haynes King, and Jamal Haynes, the running back there. My bad, I did that there. Anyways, Haynes King, 65% completion, 143, a pick, but 19 carries, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a fumble. Georgia Tech overcame 3 first quarter turnovers to win this game eventually on a Haynes King run because he had 3 of them. Leading game in receiving was Georgia Tech wide receiver Bailey Stockton, caught 4 for 48, and defensively, not a ton of defensive stats. I'm going to go with Colorado, actually, defensive end Quincy Wiggins, 2 tackles, both of them solos, a sack, 1 tackle for loss. Georgia Tech minus 3.5 covered, under 50.5. UNLV getting to 2-0, 38-21 over Sam Houston State. Less close this week for Dan Mullen's second game as the Rebels head coach, but really solid win over Sam Houston after their struggles against the Idaho State offense last week. Anthony Calandria, an excellent performance, 82.6%, 249, 2 touchdowns. Did have an interception, but carried the ball 6 times for 23 yards and a touchdown. Hunter Watson for the Bearcats. He was very ineffective, 50%, 101, 10 carries, 17 yards, and a touchdown. I think he got hurt, or maybe he just got benched because Mabry Mettauer came in 61.5%, 86 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Sam Houston running back Landon Brown led the game in rushing, 10 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown, 3 catches for -1 yard. And how about the massive game for UNLV wide receiver Jaden Bradley, 6 catches, 125 yards, and a touchdown. Talking about massive games, how about defense? UNLV defensive back Amaris Brown, 4 tackles, all of them solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles loss, and a 52-yard pick 6. That have yourself a game, young man, Mr. Amaris Brown there. UNLV covered -8.5, under 60.5, just short of that. On Saturday, this was the big one. Number 3 Ohio State getting it done over number 1 Texas, 14-7 at the shoe. Arch Manning, Julian Sayin, Sayin's first start, Manning's first start on the road. Neither quarterback played very well. 56.7% for Arch, 170, a touchdown, a pick, 10 carries, 38 yards. Julian Sayin, again, not the greatest, 65%, 126, a touchdown. This was about defense, and more defense, especially on the Ohio State side. Big news about Matt Patricia being the defensive coordinator for Ryan Day this year. Slimmed down. He looked good. And they did an excellent job of stopping this Steve Sarkisian high-powered offense that it's supposed to be. And, Arch looked frazzled. He was inaccurate, as you can see, sub 60% there. But they also initially couldn't get the running game going. But Quintravian Wisner did end up having a decent day. 16 carries, 80 yards, lead the game in rushing. It also tacked on a 5-yard reception. Texas tight end Jack Endries, he led the game in receiving, caught 4 for 50. And noticeably not on this board, Jeremiah Smith. He had 2 drops and was targeted, I believe, 4 or 5 times and was not only able to haul in, I think, 2 passes for minimal yardage. Defensively, not a ton of stats. I'm going to go with Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese, 9 tackles, 4 solos, a sack, tackle for loss. Ohio State -1.5 covered, under 46.5 easily. And that's all the ones I had slides for here. But LSU, how about LSU, the Tigers? Number 9, LSU 17-10 win over number 4 Clemson. That one was tough game for Clemson at home in their Death Valley. Props to the LSU defense and Garrett Nussmeier, Brian Kelly finally getting a opening win there. LSU covered plus 5.5, under 55.5 hit. Another one that talk about was the games on Sunday. Number 13 South Carolina 24-11 over Virginia Tech. Started off a little slow. I was impressed by Virginia Tech. I'll just say that. Kyron Drones looked very good, poised in the pocket. He's a veteran, has started multiple years in college football, and I was impressed by them. I was impressed by the Vatech defense, but South Carolina got it done. Lenora Sellers was so-so to start, really picked it up in the second half. They got a special teams touchdown as well, and the Gamecocks rolled out with a 13-point win, covering the spread 7.5 there, under 51.5. The other game on Sunday, number 10 Miami beating number 6 Notre Dame 27-24 at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami there. Carson Beck, I mean, he looked okay, had a 205 passing yards. Not sure what the completion percentage was there. It was raining a little bit, but for Notre Dame, I think it's a tough loss. CJ Carr, I thought he played pretty well. Did throw the interception. That was very poor. But other than that, I thought he did a pretty decent job in his first career start, and I was impressed with him. Obviously, Jeremiah Love was not as involved as people thought he would be. Very limited touches for him in that one. Definitely need to get him more carries and receptions as you go forward. Marcus Freeman, I mean, he's your best player on offense. And I do think Miami, though, did get bailed out by a ridiculous one-handed catch that would have been an interception almost any other time. Miami receiver had the one-hander that he hauled in and scored a touchdown on. I believe that was right before halftime. But the Canes did cover. They went outright plus 2.5, over 50.5 by the hook there, 51. And then one game on Monday, on Labor Day, we had TCU blowing out Bill Belichick in his North Carolina debut, 48-14. The Horned Frogs looked fantastic. Everything was going right for UNC. They went right down the field, scored on the first drive. It was 7-0. They were rocking and rolling in Chapel Hill. And then here comes Josh Hoover. The Horned Frogs looked very good, and I pegged them as one of my sleepers in the Big 12. I believe I only had them going 7-5 this year. I understand that, but that's what the sleeper is, right? That is, someone that you don't really expect to be there, but you see the pieces that make it a possibility that they could be at the top or near the top of the conference, and I think that's what TCU is. They have one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the country, and Josh Hoover, one of only 2 quarterbacks last year returning to throw for over 3,900 yards and 25 touchdown passes, I think it was. Something like that. It was him and Cade Klubnik, I believe. But yeah, excellent win for TCU and Sonny Dykes in week 1. The Frogs covered minus 3.5, over 54.5. Easily. And then our FCS game of the week. It was a big showdown. Number 2, South Dakota State beating up on number 15, Sacramento State. A lot of hype coming in for Sac State in this one. A lot of big-time transfers for an FCS school, but we're not able to get anything done against the number 2 team in the nation in South Dakota State. 20-3 there. The Jackrabbits get it done easily. They cover the spread minus 11.5, under 57.5 very easily. College football news, just one thing to note, Western Kentucky quarterback TJ Finley, he has committed to Georgia State. So I don't know how that works, mid-season transfer, but we'll see, I guess. I have no clue how that works. But yeah, 24/7 Sports reported it, so sure. UFL news, couple transactions. Battlehawks, they re-signed running back Kevon Latulis, wide receiver Jerome Cap, edge rusher Shaka Tony. The Roughnecks, they signed Stallions quarterback Jalen Morton and Brahma's corner Chris Steele. And the Panthers, they re-signed linebacker R.J. Moten. The Birmingham Stallions also signed a former player, defense tackle Khalil Davis was with the Stallions in 2023. And if his brother Carlos re-signs, then they would have the two brothers together again for the first time on the field together since 2019 when they were both at Nebraska. NFL news, IR, the Panthers, they placed wide receiver Jalen Coker on IR with a quad injury, out the first 4 there. Injuries, it's week 1. We're coming up. We are about 45 minutes away from 24 hours to go till the kickoff game in Philly. Eagles, Cowboys there. But yeah, injury reports have been stacking up here. Dolphins, running back Devon Achane with a calf injury, wide receiver Tyreek Hill with an oblique, and tight end Darren Waller just, returning from retirement. They are all expected to play this week against the Colts. The Packers, linebacker Micah Parsons, he is dealing with a L4, L5 facet joint sprain in his back. Might have to take an epidural to play this week. So that will be something to monitor for sure for Green Bay. I've never taken an epidural, but I have had lumbar issues before there. So, it's not fun. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford dealing with a back injury. He is expected to start this week against the Texans. Chargers running back Najee Harris, that eye injury from the fireworks accident. He is expected to go on Friday in Sao Paulo. Big news for tomorrow's game, Eagles guard Landon Dickerson dealing with a back injury. He injured in the preseason. He is expected to go tomorrow. Full participation today, I believe. Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely, foot surgery in July. He is not expected to play in their opener on Sunday Night Football against Buffalo. Tomorrow night, the Cowboys, corner Trayvon Diggs dealing with a knee. Offensive tackle Tyler Guyton also with a knee injury. Both are expected to play. Texans safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson dealing with a knee injury. He is expected to play as well. Stephon Diggs, good to go with coming off ACL surgery. Bad news, though, for New England corner Christian Gonzalez with a hamstring. Did not participate today, so more might not be in the lineup this week for the Patriots. Big news, staying in the AFC East here, Jets guard Elijah Vera Tucker suffering a torn triceps. He is out for the season. He was still getting a second opinion, I guess, so it's not 100% what I'm saying, but most of the time when it's reported that they think it's this, they're getting a second opinion, it's usually what they thought it was initially. There are a couple cases that it hasn't been, but I don't think this is going to be one of them. And it's another lost season for Vera Tucker. He lost the season 2 years ago, I believe it was 2023, when he tore his other triceps. So it's crazy that he's now torn each of them, one in each arm. The Steelers released wide receiver Robert Woods. He asked for it, said he didn't want to play on the practice squad. So he is available to sign anywhere. Extensions. The Cowboys not paying Micah Parsons, but they did pay a couple of guys. Starting off the corner, Deron Bland, 4 years, $92 million extension, $50 million guaranteed there. Big time contract extension for Deron Bland, who had all those pick sixes 2 years ago. Not very effective last year. But we'll see. I'm not so sure about that contract, but we'll see. The Bucs, they signed off tackle Luke Gadecki to a 4-year, $90 million extension, $50 million also guaranteed in his deal there with Tampa. Excellent player, good right tackle there, bookended with Tristan Wirfs, who's out currently, but very solid player for Luke Gadecki there, Baker Mayfield's front side. The Steelers, they signed running back Jalen Warren to a 2-year extension, $12 million guaranteed in his deal. He gets about $7 million this year, up 1.7 raise. as well as 2 years added on. So yeah, I wasn't sure what they were going to do with Jalen Warren going into the last year of his deal after they drafted Caleb Johnson, let Najee Harris walk in free agency. But looks like they're going to keep Jalen around for a little bit longer. The Cowboys, they signed fullback Hunter Lupke to a 2-year, $7.5 million extension. Max value there, 7.5. Yeah, this one's interesting. Third year for him. You usually don't see fullbacks extended, period, let alone a guy that's still on his rookie deal. But yeah, Hunter Lupke, the Cowboys like him. And the Texans, they signed QB Davis Mills to a 1-year, $7 million extension there. Good backup for CJ Stroud, number 1 backup in Houston. The couple signings, the Panthers, they re-signed wide receiver Hunter Renfrow after replacing Jalen Coker on IR. Colts, they signed Bucs linebacker Anthony Walker Jr. to the practice squad, former 5th-round pick of the Colts, and now back in Indy after stints with the Dolphins and the Bucs. And the Bills, they signed Jags wide receiver Gabe Davis to the practice squad. So he is back in Buffalo, where he was a former 2nd-round pick just a couple of years ago. And a couple visits by the same guy, Patriots wide receiver Kendrick Bourne visiting with the 49ers and the Commanders. Not going to make a decision yet. He's going to sit out this week and mull it over and see what happens, I guess. Because if one of them wins and the other one doesn't, I guess that's the one he's going to go to. I'm not very sure what the decision is there for Kendrick Bourne. They have deals set in place essentially with both, but he just has to decide which one he wants to go to. And it is the time. This is very, very fun stuff we got here. So we're going to start off with Jimmy's AFC bracket. So these are the records that we did way back when. I know we're probably crazy for keeping our records, but oh well. And of course, this did not save Jimmy's, or no, did he? He did have this, yeah. Yeah. This was Jimmy's, yeah. Anyways, yeah. Crazy. Jags. That's what threw me off there. But yeah, Jimmy's got the Ravens at number 1, 15-2, but Bills at number 2, 14-3, win the AFC East. Third is the Chiefs, 12-5, win the AFC West. Fourth is the Texans, winning the AFC South, 11-6. Chargers come in second in the AFC West, first wild card, 11-6. Bengals second in the AFC North, second wild card at 10-7, going to Kansas City, and the Jags 10-7, finishing second in the AFC South, getting the last spot in the AFC playoffs. So Jimmy has the Bengals upsetting Kansas City in Kansas City, heading to a division rivalry matchup with the Ravens in the divisional round. The Chargers upset the Texans on the road. Don't know if you really call that an upset, but they have to travel to Buffalo in the divisional round. And Jimmy has top 2 seeds moving on. Ravens and the Bills beating the Bengals and the Chargers in the divisional round, heading to the AFC Championship game. Big time matchup there. Rematch of what we're going to have Sunday night this week. Logan's AFC bracket. He's got the Bills at 1, Ravens at 2. Broncos winning the AFC West at 3. Logan going wild with the Broncos pick there. Texans at 4, AFC South Division champ. Chiefs at 5, Bengals at 6, and the Chargers at 7. Similar teams there from those two. In the wild card round, he has the Chiefs advancing over the Texans to head to Buffalo, and the Broncos beating the Bengals. Sort of a revenge game-ish after the Broncos, or actually no, it would have been the other way around. The Bengals would have beat them because the Broncos won to kick the Bengals out of the playoffs this year. Yeah. But yeah, Broncos win against the Bengals in Denver to go to Baltimore. And Logan is wild. The Broncos and the Chiefs win on the road. Broncos win in Baltimore. Chiefs win in Buffalo, and they head to a AFC West, AFC Championship game Broncos hosting the Kansas City Chiefs in Logan's AFC Championship. My AFC bracket, I have the Kansas City Chiefs as the number 1 seed there. Buffalo Bills at number 2, 12-5. AFC East winner. Ravens win the AFC North at 12-5. And third, Texans, yes, I have a 7-10 record. I don't care. I do not like any team in that division. I just think they're all bad. And their record reflects that. 7-10 for me for the Texans. First ever 7-win team. I believe 10 loss team, I should say, in the playoffs. Chargers at 5, big time 13-4 wild card going into Houston there, big disparity in wins. Broncos come in 6th at 11-6, and the Steelers, A-Rod makes it in his final season 11-6, getting the Steelers to the playoffs there. So I have the Chargers beating up on the Texans, moving on to Kansas City, AFC West matchup there, and the Ravens beating the Broncos, Bills beating the Steelers. So status quo, Ravens, Bills in the divisional round in Buffalo. My AFC Championship sets up like this. It's the 1 and the 3 seed. The Ravens upset the Bills in Buffalo to move to the AFC Championship game, and they are going to have to go on the road to Kansas City. 2 very difficult games back-to-back. And I would even say 3 straight difficult games for Baltimore, having to face that Denver defense in the wild card round. Chiefs get a win over the Chargers to move on to the AFC title game. My NFC bracket looks like this. I have the San Francisco 49ers as number 1 seed, 14-3. The Bucks at 2 at 13-4 win the NFC South. Eagles win the NFC East. First team to do it since them in 03-04. Back-to-back NFC East champs at 10-7, get a tiebreak over Washington to win it, which subsequently kicks Washington out of the playoffs because I had 3 teams tied at 10-7, and I chose to go with the Lions and the Seahawks over the Commanders. Vikings win the NFC North, also at a tiebreak at 10-7. The Rams, big time 13-4 record in 5th seed. Lions, like I mentioned, 10-7, 6th seed. They go to Philly, and the Seahawks get the last spot, 10-7 in the 7th seed. I had the Seahawks major upset in Tampa in the wild card round. They move on to face an NFC West opponent in San Francisco. The Eagles, they beat the Lions there in Philly, and the Vikings, they move on over the Rams. That one was a coin flip for me. I was thinking about the Rams, but I decided to go with Jimmy's Vikings to move on to face the Eagles because we know the Vikings love playing Philadelphia in Philadelphia, right, Jimmy? Anyways, I have the 1 and 3 seed moving on to the NFC title game. The 49ers beating the Seahawks, the Eagles beating the Vikings. Niners host the Eagles in what is setting up to be a revenge game potentially from a couple years ago when Brock Purdy got injured early in that game and the Eagles trounced them on their way to a Super Bowl win. Logan's NFC bracket, of course, he's a homer. He's got the Green Bay Packers as the number 1 seed. 49ers win the NFC West at 2. Eagles win the NFC East at 3. Falcons winning the NFC South at 4. Rams at 5. Lions at 6. And Bucks at 7. Very similar. Other than I have Green Bay nowhere near the playoffs. They might be near it now with Michael Parsons. I upgraded them to 2 more wins, so I think they can max out at 9-8, but that's not good enough, I don't think. Logan has the Rams winning in Atlanta to move on to Green Bay, the 49ers and the Eagles. He has my NFC championship game in his NFC divisional round matchup there, Eagles at Niners. And then it's the old foes. The Packers beat the Rams, the Niners beat the Eagles, and the Packers hosting the 49ers in the NFC championship game. That would be fun. Jimmy, his NFC bracket, he has my Birds at number 1, 13-4 for Philly. Rams at 2, 13-4 there as well. His Vikings are at 3 in the NFC North slot. By the way, Jimmy is the only one of us that has the Rams winning the NFC West. His Vikings win the North at 12-5. Bucks win the South at 11-6. Niners in the 5th at 11-6. Lions at 11-6. They are in 6th. and Commanders make it into the playoffs 11-6 as well in the 7th seed. The wild card round shakes out like this. He has the 49ers going to Tampa and winning to move on to Philly once again. 49ers, Eagles in the divisional round for Logan and Jimmy. I have it in the NFC Championship. And the Rams beat Commanders, and the Vikings win against the Lions, so they move on. Vikings going to LA to play the Rams. Jimmy has the Eagles and the Vikings heading to the NFC title game in Philadelphia there. So here it is. This is Jimmy's championship. Eagles, Vikings. Eagles win another NFC championship. They go to a second consecutive Super Bowl, 3 out of 4. The Ravens, moving on. It's a battle of 1 seeds. They beat Kansas City and Baltimore to move on to the Super Bowl, and Lamar Jackson does it. Jimmy is picking the Baltimore Ravens to win Super Bowl 60, and Jimmy has Lamar Jackson as his MVP. My Super Bowl 60 matchup, I have the same as Jimmy, except I have them winning on the road to get there. A pair of 3 seeds for me. The Eagles beating the 49ers in San Fran. The Ravens beating the Chiefs in Kansas City to match up in Super Bowl 60. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles will win back-to-back championships. It's going to be a much more difficult road this year. They have a lot tougher schedule, a lot of new pieces, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But I think it will work. They will be battle-tested by the time they get to the playoffs, much so. And I think they will be ready. And the young kids will have matured and grown a lot throughout the season, and they will be hardened by the time that the playoffs reach Philadelphia there. So I like the Eagles. Go Birds, baby. And back-to-back Super Bowls, 3 out of 4. Logan is being a homer as well. He has the Chiefs as a 5 seed beating the Broncos on the road in Denver, an AFC West matchup. And he has the Packers beating and exercising their 49ers-sized demons to get to Super Bowl 60 in New Orleans. And the Green Bay Packers win Super Bowl 60 in a rematch of Super Bowls 1 and 2. By the way, my Super Bowl MVP is, of course, Jalen Hurts. Logan did not give me his MVP. I am assuming it is going to be either Jordan Love or Micah Parsons, I would think. And John. So we have John's bracket here. He has the Bills as the 1 seed in the AFC. The Texans as the 2. That's wild. Raven, they have never been above 4 for any of Jimmy, Logan, or I. But John has Texans at 2, Ravens at 3, Chiefs at 4. The Patriots get in at 5, the Broncos at 6, and the Chargers at 7. In the NFC, John has the Eagles at 1, Bucks at 2, Seahawks at 3, Packers at 4, Lions at 5, Commanders at 6, and the Bears. John's the only one to pick the Bears this year in the 7th seed. His playoffs look like this. The Chargers win over the Texans. The Ravens win over the Broncos. The Chiefs over the Patriots in the wild card round for the AFC. Then the Bills beat the Chargers. The Ravens beat the Chiefs. And the Ravens beat the Bills to go to Super Bowl 60. In the NFC, John has the Bucks beating the Bears, the Seahawks beating the Commanders, and the Lions beating the Packers in the wild card round. In the divisional round, he has the Eagles over the Lions, the Bucks over the Seahawks, and in the NFC title game, the Eagles win over the Bucks. So it is also Eagles, Ravens for John. And just like Jimmy, he has the Baltimore Ravens winning Super Bowl 60. Unlike Jimmy, though, his Super Bowl MVP, Derrick Henry. And finally, we have Danny's picks for Super Bowl 60. We do not have his playoff bracket, but Danny, he likes the Bills. He is picking against his team. He likes the Bills over the Packers in Super Bowl 60. Josh Allen gets Buffalo its first Super Bowl win, and he is Danny's Super Bowl MVP. Let's get to awards here. Starting off, Coach of the Year. So we got 3 guys up on the screen. There's 5 of us that picked, but 3 guys on the screen here. John is going with Raiders head coach Pete Carroll. I think that's a Seahawks kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think, John, you have to get your team to the playoffs in order to be Coach of the Year candidate in my mind. So I do not see Pete Carroll as winning Coach of the Year. Broncos head coach Sean Payton. That is the majority. We have 3 of us, Danny, Logan, and I. We are all on Sean Payton this year. And look, I've talked to someone before, and I have a bet on the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. I think they're very much a dark horse with how that defense is, how good that defense is. And I think Bo Nix progresses. They got a little bit more of weaponry this year in R.J. Harvey, Pat Bryant. In the draft, their offensive line is still good. They got Evan Ingram as well, Sean Payton's handpicked piece there. So I really like Sean Payton. I have the Broncos, I believe, going 11-6, finishing, unfortunately, 3rd in the AFC West because I think the Chargers and the Chiefs are going to be too good. But, I like Sean Payton, though, as a good Coach of the Year candidate. And Jimmy, he is going with the old reliable John Harbaugh, his pick to win the Super Bowl. He is going with their head coach, the Baltimore Ravens. Comeback Player of the Year. Also 3 names up here. A little bit more split. Only 4 votes on this one. But Lions defensive end Aiden Hutchinson. That is who John is going with, coming off the broken leg last year. A lot of people like Aiden for this award. Makes a ton of sense there. We'll see how he does early in the season. I think that could be a big indicator. And how much help, because they really did not, once again, get him any help. 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey. That is Danny's pick. It's a very good pick. I really like him this year. Can he stay healthy? That's the big issue. And he's done it before. Can he do it again as he's much older than he was, when he first came back that full healthy season a couple years ago and had a great year leading the 49ers to the Super Bowl. But I like the 49ers this year. A big piece of it is Christian McCaffrey. So, yeah. And for Jimmy and I, we are on his QB. QB1 there in Minnesota. J.J. McCarthy is Jimmy and I's pick for Comeback Player of the Year. I really liked him, especially based off the odds. Quarterbacks win all the other awards anyways. So I think if there's a solid performance here for J.J. McCarthy, he throws for over, 3,000, 3,500 yards. He's throwing for 25 to 30 touchdowns. I think that would do it, really. I think it would. And the Vikings, make the playoffs. I think that would be more than enough to get it done there. Offensive Rookie of the Year. So, John, he is rolling with Raiders running back Ashton Genty. I guess that plays into his Coach of the Year pick with Pete Carroll. I don't know. But, he's the favorite, I believe. And as he probably should be, Pete Carroll's going to want to run the heck out of him. And he's good at catching, too. Underrated ability there. But, Ashton Genty is John's pick. Titans quarterback Cam Ward. That is the majority pick here. Danny, Logan, and I, we are all on Cam Ward. I struggled with picking this one. I really wanted to pick my Panthers guy, Tet McMillan, like Jimmy did. But I think if Cam puts in a decent season, sort of like I was just talking with JJ McCarthy and the Vikings, I think the Titans don't even have to be that good. But I think if Cam Ward puts up decent statistics, it's a quarterback driven league. I think he would probably win it. So, and yeah, Ted McMillan, it's tough for a receiver to win it. They have to put up really solid numbers, and I'm just not sure he's going to do enough stat wise in Carolina this year, Jimmy. Defensive rookie of the year, Giants edge rusher Abdul Carter. That is majority. John, Danny, and Jimmy all on the Giants pass rusher there. And sure, as he should be. But one thing I will say about Abdul Carter's case to win Defensive Rookie of the Year is he is not going to be a starter to start the year. Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns are the starting outside linebackers, at least I believe. I haven't checked. But at least that's what I have heard in the past. So even if he does start, I don't think they'll run him full go right away. He'll be in a rotation. So I think the stat production early on in the year is going to be a little bit limited. It might affect his overall numbers. Logan, I thought this was off the wall here. Ravens safety Malachi Starks, go Dogs, but I have no clue how a safety is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, Logan. I wish you were on to tell us how that was going to happen. I'm going with 49ers edge rusher Michael Williams, go Dogs as well. Look, he's playing opposite of Nick Bosa. He should get a lot of single teams and needs to put it all together. Very raw prospect coming out, but pass rush potential is there. And I think especially he's going to like playing in this Robert Saleh rush defense there. So, yeah, give me Michael Williams. Sleeper pick there. Offensive Player of the Year. This is where we're pretty split here. The majority, though, two of us voted for him. It is John and me. We are on Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs. Look, I drafted him in a couple of fantasy leagues at 4th overall. I think he is going to be a stud this year, taking over more work from David Montgomery. I think it's going to be more skewed this year in terms of 26. Not sure he's going to score that many touchdowns like he did last year, but I think there's the big potential to have an excellent season in Detroit for Jahmyr Gibbs there. Falcons running back Bijan Robinson. That is who Danny is going with. It's kind of a fantasy thing. I think it's really weird. I don't see the team production, which I think is always a factor in any of the awards, really. So I'm not really sure where the Falcons are going to be at the end of the year. Bijan could have good stats. I don't know. It's very much unknown with Michael Penix there. Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase. That's Logan's pick. Yeah, I mean, him and Jimmy's pick. Jimmy's being a homer. Justin Jefferson. I mean, those two are in it every single year, it feels like. So I don't really think there's much to say about either of those two guys. Defensive Player of the Year. This one was interesting. So John and Logan are going with Packers linebacker Micah Parsons, as is, I'm sure, a lot of people. It makes a ton of sense. I mean, he is one of the best, if not the best, defensive player in the NFL. Only other player to have 12-plus sacks in each of their first 4 seasons was former Packer Reggie White. So a lot of hype for Micah Parsons. I'm not sure. That back injury scares me in terms of what he's going to be able to produce. Will he play all 17? That's a big question mark, I think. So good luck to John and Logan. The other person with 2 votes is the incumbent. I mean, he didn't win it last year. Pat Surtain did at the Broncos, but Myles Garrett seems to always be in there every year, top 3 at the worst. Danny and Jimmy on Myles Garrett. And I'm a little off the wall. This is my second 49er here in the picks, along with Michael Williams. I'm going with Niners edge rusher Nick Bosa. He has been very solid, still pretty young, and needs to get back to that production. And I think he will, though. I think he will because he's back with Robert Saleh. That is who he had his best years with as his defensive coordinator early on in his career. So I think being back with Saleh here, I think that's going to help Nick Bosa tremendously, and he's going to have a hell of a year in San Francisco, and especially because they play the easiest schedule in the league. I think that's a big key on why I am high on a lot of 49ers this year and the team as a whole. MVP, of course, it's 3 quarterbacks, right? Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. That is John and Jimmy's pick. Those were the 2 that picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl out of the 5 of us. So it makes a ton of sense that Lamar would win his 3rd MVP in a season that they win the Super Bowl. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. That is Danny and Logan's pick. All right. Probably should have won it last year, but the Bengals didn't make the playoffs. That played a big factor into it. Yeah. Joe Burrow should put up lightning numbers again this year, as he always has, if he can stay upright, that is. And I'm sure he'll be in the conversation once again. But I'm going with the guy that has 2, I believe 2, might be 3. I don't know. But and I hate to do it because it's Chiefs fatigue, but I have the Chiefs as my number 1 seed in the AFC at 14-3. I don't think it can be anybody else. I do think this Chiefs offense is set for a rebound. They have some experience now under their belts at the wide receiver position. Xavier Worthy really came on down the stretch. They're going to get Rashee Rice back in week 7. And yeah, I think Pat, and he's going to want to give Kelsey some touches as well in what most people think, as well as I do, his swan song year. So Pat Mahomes, I think he's going to be a man on a mission this year in Kansas City. So that is my pick for most valuable player. 2024, here's how the Monday show picks ended up. Logan winning our Monday picks, 2 games up on Jimmy. And John did not pick the playoffs, but yeah, he still ended up above me by 6 games there. Yeah, I was on the basement for a lot of the picks last year. It wasn't good. So here we go. This is what we got here. Eagles hosting the Cowboys tomorrow night. About 15. Actually, it might be 8:15 tomorrow. I don't know. It's always weird timing, 8:15, 8:20, whatever it is. But this game's going to be going on around this time. And yeah, no one's going to pick the Dallas Cowboys. Kind of scary. But at the same time, I have full faith that the Eagles can get this thing done at home. They're coming in pretty darn healthy. The Cowboys are not. Guyton and Diggs going to play, but they're banged up. Yeah, Dickerson's banged up as well, but he's going to play, and he's one of the toughest players in the league. So I don't really think he's going to get off the field for Philly's offense. And yeah, I just think Saquon's going to have a good night. The Cowboys are sorely going to miss Micah Parsons. And go Birds, baby. Eagles start the season off with a dub in their titled defense. And they cover the spread. The total on this game is 47.5. You know, I'm going to lean on the under, but it's close. 8:20 p.m. NBC and Peacock. Next week, we got a couple games to talk about. Of course, we'll get you all your recaps from the weekend of college football and NFL action, and we'll start you off with your Monday night's game, the first Monday nighter of the year. It's the NFC North matchup, big time. Vikings at the Bears. Ben Johnson versus Brian Flores. Doesn't get much better than that. Offense versus defense there. And then we'll kick you off week 2 with the Commanders heading to Green Bay. Big time NFC showdown there. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X. FAApodcast.com is our website. You check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And if you enjoyed the very shortened show length, the new and improved shortened show, make sure you follow us on all our social media and hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. Thank y'all, and we'll see y'all on Football Friday.